Hi, welcome to a standing series sunset yoga class with myself, Kim, and my special guest, Tails. Today we will be flowing through a series of postures from mountain to mountain. And right now you can see myself standing here in a position that I'll tell you more about soon, which is called mountain pose. And this is also the posture that we will find ourselves in at the end of the sequence. And so here from mountain pose, we are just going to take a few minutes just to ground ourselves in wherever we are and focus on our breath. And so before we focus on our breath, I want to guide you through the posture. So make sure that your feet are about hip-width distance apart. Your ankles are stacked right underneath your knees, and then your knees are stacked right underneath your hips. And try and keep your upper body in a straight line, keeping your spine as upright as possible. Maybe you want to inhale and exhale and roll your shoulders up and back a little bit so that you can keep yourself in an upright line. And then, of course, keeping your head directly above your shoulders, just trying to keep one big long line. And with this, we'll inhale and just kind of roll back our shoulders, open up our chest area here, and have our arms down to our sides. And here in this mountain pose, which is also called Tadasana, this is just where we just want to ground in. We want to really feel our feet, imagining that they are trees almost, into the ground, and imagine that we can inhale and fill ourselves up with the energy that maybe is coming from the earth or any other type of nature, and just really feel ourselves grounded. So we'll just spend about 5 breath cycles here, focusing on our breath, focusing on grounding, and focusing on feeling the full length of our body standing. So inhaling through our nose, imagining that as we inhale, maybe we want to place our hand on our belly so that we can inhale and fill our belly feeling full. And then as we exhale, our belly contracts. And as you begin to notice your breath a little bit more, maybe you want to deepen it to a 3-part breath where we inhale through our nose, into our chest, into our lungs, and into our belly. And then exhaling in that same way out our belly, our chest, and then our nostrils. Just continue breathing this way as long as feels comfortable for you. And when you feel ready and complete and grounded, we'll move into our first posture, which will be a standing forward fold. And I'm going to turn sideways just for us to be able to demonstrate this so that you can see the plane of motion. And so from this mountain pose again, just straightening myself up, making sure that things are stacked accordingly. I like to come into a standing forward fold through a swan dive just to lengthen out my body. And so I'll inhale with my arms from my sides up over my head, placing the palms of my hands together, looking upward, just feeling a full extension of my body. And then I'll come into a standing forward fold and then exhale. So inhaling, arms up above my head, and exhaling, I'll just fold at the hips, swan diving forward. Maybe I can reach my hands to the ground today, but I'll just see if I can fold my body almost completely on top of itself. And so in this standing forward fold, you'll notice that I'm hinged here at my hips. My upper body is draping down. My legs are pretty straight here, but you can always bend your knees and rest your chest on your tops of your legs if that helps you get more of a release in your upper back or lower back. But focus on just folding forward, dropping your head, and allowing yourself to really relax here in the standing forward fold. And keeping your feet grounded. Maybe you'd like to place your hands on the ground. If you have blocks or something else, maybe you'd like to place them there. But from the standing forward fold, we're going to move into a crescent lunge. But first, we're going to flow through an inhale to a halfway lift, placing your hands either on your knees or your thighs. And then exhale back down to a forward fold. And from this, we're going to step our right foot back first. So inhaling just a little bit to a halfway lift. Exhale, stepping our right foot back, keeping our left knee bent, and our back foot is back in this lunge-like position, making sure not to have your front knee cross over your front ankle, and then inhaling your arms up above you into this crescent lunge shape. And this can be quite an opening along our hip flexors and quite a balancing posture as well, definitely depending on what type of surface you're working on. And from this crescent high lunge, we'll just inhale and look our gaze up towards the sky or the ceiling. Maybe you want to exhale and bring your hands down to heart center for a moment. And then inhaling our arms up again over our head, we're just going to flow into a heart opener. So bringing our hands behind our back, grabbing our palms together, gripping our fingers. Inhaling, again, leaning back a little bit, adding a back bend, definitely testing the balance of this posture. Holding this for as long as you feel comfortable, focusing on your breath, using that to stabilize you. And then when we're ready, inhaling our arms back up over our head and stepping our right foot back forward. Finding balance again if we lose it. And exhaling our hands back down to heart center, coming through our first cycle of a high crescent lunge and a heart opening crescent lunge. We'll repeat this on the opposite side. And so on the opposite side, we'll just inhale our arms back up again over our head, flow back through a forward fold, exhaling all the way down. Inhaling to a halfway lift, this time stepping our left leg back. Finding our balance, up on our toes, keeping our right knee over our right ankle. And then inhaling our arms up into a high crescent lunge, sinking down in, noticing how this feels on our leg. Inhaling and exhaling, keeping your balance. And then we'll move into that heart opener, reaching our hands behind our back, clasping our fingers together. Inhale, stretching, looking up, adding a bit of a back bend if you are comfortable and able. And then exhaling, bringing your arms back up overhead. Taking another inhale, and then exhale, stepping your left foot forward. And exhale, arms down, heart through center. The next posture that we're going to move into is going to be a revolved crescent lunge, which is just going to add in more of a heart opener and allow for a twist, which can always be great and detoxifying and just really opening and strengthening as well. So in this revolved crescent lunge, we'll again return back to that mountain pose, standing strong, inhaling straight up, grounding our feet, noticing and trying to make sure that our balance is equal between each foot. We'll inhale, arms up ahead. Start with our right leg again, inhaling. Exhale, step your right foot back into that similar lunge that we were in momentarily. And this time we're going to exhale, bring our hands to heart center, twist so that our right elbow rests on our left center, or you can bring one hand and a couple breaths here. And when you're ready, bring your hands back together at heart center, and on an exhale, bring them back up. Take an inhale breath, and on the exhale, step your feet back together. This time, we're going to be stepping our left foot back, so inhaling, stretching up, and exhale, stretching our left foot back, right foot forward into this crescent lunge. Taking an inhale breath, and then exhale, bringing your hands down to heart center, twisting so that our left elbow is on our right knee this time. Hands at heart center, you can maybe see a little bit more of the twist this time. And then you can open up, reaching one hand up to the sky, one hand down towards the ground or the mat, feeling this balancing posture as well as a twist. And exhale your hands back together at heart center. Inhale, unwind, arms back up. And exhale, step your feet back together. Take a moment here, placing your hands either at your heart center or down at your side, to just reground before we move into the second half of our postures, which will include downward dog, lizard, and other downward internal focus postures. When you're ready, from this standing position of mountain or Tadasana, we will again just inhale and bring our arms up over our head. Exhale, hands down through center, folding this time all the way down into a forward fold, placing your hands on the ground. And this time we'll step our right foot back into a low lunge, this time a little bit with our hands down. And we'll place both of our hands on the inside of that left foot in a lizard-like position. And if this is comfortable for you to keep your leg lifted, feel free. You can also ground your knee. And you can also come down onto forearms with both of your palms inside that knee if you'd like to. And with this being an intro to these poses, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I encourage you to come back to this posture whenever you need it. And so inhale, lifting up your knee if you had it. And we're just going to flow into plank pose as a transition to get us to the other side. And so with both hands planted underneath our shoulders, press down, lift up that left leg, send it back towards near the right leg at the back of their space, and make sure that your hands are underneath your shoulders and your body's in this straight line when you find yourself in a plank position. Take a few breaths here. You can look down just to keep your spine in one line. And then on an exhale, we're just going to use this as a transition to have lizard with our right leg forward. So taking an inhale breath, getting ready, and exhale, step your right foot forward, trying to step it to the outside of your right hand. And here you'll find yourself in lizard on this side. Hands on the inside. You're welcome to come down onto forearms if you'd like, or just stay. You're welcome to keep your leg lifted or drop your knees. But just spend a breath cycle here in this lizard position. When you're ready, plant your hands back down, lift up that back knee, and bring that right foot back into a plank position again. And next we're going to flow from upward dog to downward dog. And so from this plank push-up-like position, we'll just take an inhale. And on an exhale, we're going to bend our elbows, coming down, almost down to the ground or the mat, or coming all the way down if you need to. And then flowing through into upward dog. And in upward dog, you'll see that my knees are lifted off of the ground. My chest is lifted off of the ground. And I'm looking up towards the sky, opening up my heart. Depending upon the surface you're on, this might be a little bit more challenging, but this is a heart opener, a chest opener, and really a full front body stretch. And to transition from this into downward dog, we're just going to tuck our chin to our chest and begin to maybe drop your knees, bend them, and lift your hips up towards the sky. Maybe you spread your hips a little bit. Make sure your arms are shoulder width distance. And send your hips to the sky in downward facing dog. Maybe we want to bend one knee at a time, really trying to extend and elongate the spine here in this posture. Maybe bending both knees to allow our hips to go higher, to stretch out our spine a little bit more. And from this downward facing dog position, we're just going to move back through to finish up our series here together today. You can always use this as a way to go into child's pose and spend some time resting, revisit this, do more of these postures, see what works for you and what your body needs. Always remembering to come back to your breath. So from here, to get from downward dog into a forward fold, there's several options. At the end of a class, I like to kind of tiptoe my feet all the way to the front. So what we'll do is we'll just make sure our hands stay planted, bring our feet close together, and just walk, tiptoeing our feet, bending our knees, And then maybe at halfway, we want to come back and have our hands meet our feet. And in this forward fold position again, maybe now we want to just relax a little bit more, drop our head, wrap our arms around the backs of our legs, grab opposite elbows, whatever you feel intuitively that you need. Take an inhale breath to a halfway lift. Exhale back to a standing forward fold. And then inhale all the way up to the sky. And we'll just close in position again. To add the moon as we start, as we find in this position with our head. To the left side. Exhale and sink farther to the right. And after that second breath, we'll just inhale back to the center, arms straight above our head. Right into the second sign. So inhale and exhale, our hips and that stretch along the right side body. And then exhale, deeper. Open up our spine, lifting our side. Really feeling that swing and that stretch. And coming back up. Our hands down to palms. Closing your eyes for taking time to practice. Thank you for joining me. I encourage you to spend some time after this getting into a position that works well for you, and maybe just spend about 5 to 10 minutes just focusing on your breath, coming back to that 3-part breath maybe of inhaling through our nose into our chest, lungs, and belly, and exhaling in the same way, feeling the expansion and contraction as we breathe. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to offer any guidance that I can.